about it. And then later on, I found there's a sentence, there's a note written that the amount of mortgage loan usually limit by criteria as below. And then one of the criteria stated is the net rental value of the property must exceed the rate of interest and periodic payments. What does this mean actually? Yeah? Because I don't understand this sentence.
Can you repeat the sentence again?
Is week 12 lecture, slide
The
18.
sentence. Yeah, the sentence.
Should I share screen?
The sentence just now. Can you repeat the sentence?
Or the sentence is the amount. Hold on, the sentence is this one. The amount of mortgage loan usually limited by two criteria. The second one, the net rental value of the property must exceed the rate of interest and periodic payments.
I cannot recall the sentence actually. You said page, what page?
Also, actually, I'm sharing right now. Can you see my screen?
You're sharing.
Yeah, I'm sharing.
Okay. I cannot see your screen. Maybe because I try to unpin. Okay, now. Okay, I can see the screen now. So the number 2, the one you highlighted, right? The net rental value of the property must exceed the rate of interest and periodic payment.
Yes.
Okay. What it means here, the net rental value, that means the value that we normally use when we do valuation, after we deducted all the outgoing, etc. So this value must exceed the periodic payments. That means if the net rental value is 3,000, okay, so that 3,000 must be more than what you are supposed to pay, which is 2,000, for example. So it's all influenced by the rate of interest. So the net rental value is 3,000, for example. So that means I'm having a class. Okay. Sorry, my kid is disturbing me. So let's say if your net rental value is 3,000, so that means the payment you are supposed to pay is less than that. The monthly payments. So 2,000, 2,500. So basically, the profit is there. So if we have this, we fulfill this criteria. No. You don't disturb. Sit here. Come. Sit there. Sorry, because she's very active this afternoon. My wife is also having another meetings up there. So if I ask her brother to, no. Ama? Okay. So if you have the net rental value, which is 3,000, as compared to the payments that we are supposed to pay, which is 2,000, that means we have 1,000 gaps there. So if as long as the net rental value is more than the monthly payment, so basically the mortgage loans will usually be considered good. Okay, so it will be long-term finance, because that means that you are making money. You are making money out of the property. In terms of investment point of view, usually we say something like, find the property that can look after itself. That's a wise investor. If you want to purchase a property, purchase the property that can look after itself. Then you will become a good investor. How to do that? It depends on the location, depend on the market situation, etc. But if you have to pay 3,500 per month, but you only get the net rental value of 2,000, that means you're losing 1,500. So you have to come out with more money from your own pocket in order to cover the amount that you are supposed to pay to the financial institution. So that's not a good investor. A wise investor always look the other way around, where the expectation of income must be more than what you are supposed to pay. That's why people like you have advantages, especially when you learn from me how to come up with the um, analysis, to come up with mortgage situation, different type of mortgage, to fulfill. So basically, you will become should become a wise investors in the future. Try to think that way as compared to other investor. Okay, Ivan.
Okay.
Okay, any other question? Any other question from?
I just wondering, is bridging finance and term loan considered as short-term finance?
Term loan, yes. Bridging finance depends on the uh, market situation. If you manage to come up with under normal market condition, it should be considered as short term. But under certain circumstances, which seldom happens. But when it comes to something like now, COVID-19, so all the projects, most of the developers stop the project because they can't afford to continue because no purchase, and then they have to pay to the financial institution. So that means the actual time period for the development has to be extended. So in this case, it can be considered um, long term. Who's taking the clothes just now behind you?
Guan.
One.
Yeah,
Who was the clothes? Who
he's
helped you?
close. He's
What
close.
is your own clothes?
Yeah, because it's almost raining here, so he's taking in his clothes.
Okay, what happened to your clothes? No clothes today. You did not wash.
Oh, today I didn't drying any clothes, so no worry lah. Only Lee Kuan want to keep his clothes.
So only Liguan.
Uh,
So no parcel today.
no parcel, no worry.
Alright, okay. Okay, Minyao.
Yes, understand.
Understand. Okay.
Yeah.
So any question?
Can you clarify a bit what is the peak borrowing requirements?
Big borrowing requirement, that means the maximum amount that we need to get from the financial institution, or the use of money. Like I said before, the financial institution will actually come up with about 80% of the amounts that we actually applied for. So out of the 80%, it doesn't mean that, like I explained before, we will use the whole 80%. Okay, so we only use up to 1/3, 30% of the total 80% of the actual amount that we have applied for. So basically, out of the 1/3, out of 33% of the 80% of the total amount that we applied, that amounts under normal market circumstances. So we should have up to that amount as the maximum, 33%. So that means that is the peak borrowing requirement, 33% of the 80% of the actual amount that we have applied. So many of. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
That's the peak borrowing requirement. Okay, one more question, please. After that, we go to the tutorial. One more question. No question. No now we only have 24 students. And then I told you yesterday, you have to prepare with the answer. There is no right or wrong, but I will be very happy if you try to give me the answer. Don't worry about the right or wrong. Okay, so I need, instead of offering, volunteer, so I need to call now, because if I say anyone to answer, normally the same person will come up. So the one that I will pick here.
Doctor, can I try?
Hang on, you hear what I said or not?
Okay.
So those who always answer can help this particular person, just in case something is not right. But if this particular person, the one I'm going to pick, can do correctly, then he or she will be very good. Okay. So, who is this guy? Nazhan. Nazhan?
Yes, doctor.
Oh, you look so handsome, your photo.
That's not me.
I thought it was you. I thought you went somewhere now. You went to Korea, to do a face change of something.
No, sir.
Okay, so can you help me to answer the question? Because we are supposed to recognize.
Which tutor, sir?
Can someone mute your mic, please? Is it you, Nazar, or someone else?
Sorry.
Who's making noise? Is that from
Doctor,
you
I
or
think
from...
it's from Nashan's background.
Just ask you, Nazar.
Sorry, sir. The TV is on.
TV. This is TV. Okay, so now we go to tutorial 11, I think. Tutorial 11. Am I right? Tutorial 11?
Oh, not 10, sir.
10 is about what?
Doctor, today is 11 and 12.
10 we have done last week. Today is week 11. About ABC Bank.
I just finished until 10 only. Because I thought this week is tutorial 10.
Were you in last week?
Yeah, but my connection is not really good last week. So I managed to hear until 9 only. So I thought 10 has not discussed yet.
Yeah, I'm happy with the answer. Vidat.
Yes, doctor.
Let's go straight to week 11. Try to answer.
All right.
Do you have a screen to share?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, you can share screen. The rest you can comment. No right or wrong, you can comment. If something is wrong, then we can correct it together. When you cannot correct it, then I will enter. I will interfere and make a correction. I want to see how do you discuss between yourself.
Doctor, can you see my slide?
Yes.
All right. So
Just describe the framework first, as usual, before you start with your answer.
So basically, I started with definitions of bridging finance and definitions of end finance and what factors should be considered by the mortgage officer. Alright, so for the definitions of bridging finance help to bridge developer cash flow during construction and pending receipt of sales proceeds.
Okay. Can't hear anything now. Vidat? Are you with us?
Hello, Doctor.
Yes, yes.
Sorry. Alright, so the definition of bridging finance helps to bridge developer cash flow during construction and pending receipt of sales proceed from end purchaser or their end financer. This is to ensure the continuations of the project until the completion. So for the definitions of the end finance, provide bridging loans to developer can arrange to finance a prospective buyer for home purchases. For what factor that should be considered is 5 C's of credit, which is character. So the mortgage officer should consider character, which is the ability to pay, refer to borrower's financial credibility to pay. And also they need to determine whether the applicant is a good character or not, which is a good character is one that has the ability to pay and a willingness to pay. Alright, so the things that mortgage officer can look out for end finance applicant is lifestyle, expenses and spending habits, debts, and also the bridging finance for developer need to fill the standard application form for bridging finance. So for the bridging finance, the mortgage officer need to look into the feasibility study of the project, advanced cash flow analysis, the latest audited accounts and valuation report. For the second thing that they need to consider is capacity. Capacity is referred to the source of repayment, for example, the cash flow. The borrower must be able to meet with all his financial obligation on the due dates. Because of lender won't give away loans to just anyone, especially those they deem incapable of paying back what they owe. So the financial institution, which is the mortgage officer, have the responsibility to see through the lifestyle and resources of their prospective borrower and have the right to refuse them the loan if they see that the borrower would be unduly burdened by the debt. Alright, so for the capital, capital represent the degree of commitment and the ability to sustain this commitment during the bad times. Mortgage officers should consider any capital the borrower put toward a potential investment. For the collateral, collateral is the lender's second line of defense. If the payback is derived from cash flow, then the collateral will not be liquidated for repayment. Even if the if the bank is actually willing to give borrowers a hefty amount of money for their real estate, they want to make sure that they are not the only one who has something to lose. They will sometimes ask for something in return to know that they are dealing with reliable and trustworthy client. So for the last one is condition, which is the condition referred to the macroeconomic environment. For example, if the loan is for setting up a retail business in particular area, then the lender must make a study of the economic condition with a reference to the degree of prosperity to the spend by resident of the locality.
Finish?
Finish.
Okay, any comment from the class? Where's the slide? You can let the class comment. Go to the top again. Okay, class, are you happy with the answer?
Macam tak cukup specify.
Okay, apa yang tak cukup? Can you discuss?
Okay, for example, in character, okay, you can try to more specify like, okay, what is the who is the character, who is the one you are going to evaluate. For example, the board of director, the management level. So you can evaluate based on their past record of civil cases, because nowadays many people involved in it, especially directors of some company. Okay, so another one is their professionalism, which is their working experience in the field. This one I think made the answer more specified.
Alright.
Okay, any other comment? Do you think that, before you consider, do you think that the flow of discussion is there? Do you think it's good enough to answer the question? What do you think, the class? What the question specifically asks you to do? If you cut and paste, you won't get good marks. Everyone can cut and paste, but you must answer. Bear in mind, whenever you answer question, especially in the final exam, if you cut and paste even the diagram, you won't get so much mark. I'll give you marka kesian, a little bit of the marks, because you try to answer, but not up to the full mark. So you have to think about the question. Any comment from you? Look at the question again.
It seems like losing a part of let me check. How the instruction given by the mortgage manager for the mortgage officer can help in making final decisions.
So which part? Any specific part that we are supposed to put?
If for me the framework will be similar to me, that's one. Just that I will add one more part that state how the 5 C's can help in making the final decisions.
That's the last part, yeah?
Yes, that is the last part.
So basically, overall, when we look at the question, what the question actually wants us to do. The question asks you, how would you instruct the mortgage officer to conduct the task in helping you to make a final decision? So what basically, in one word, you want to answer this question? What is that? What word? Just give me one word. That 2 words. Who said that? Huh? Who said that?
It's me, Ling Kai.
MP. You want to fight with me?
No.
I said one word, you want to give me 2 words.
Don't always threatening me lah.
Okay. Don't take it seriously, I'm joking.
I'm joking also.
Just give me one word. What is that?
Instruction.
Effect.
No. Huh?
The effect.
No. 2 words, the effect. Who said that?
Effect.
You're the one who wants to fight with me, huh?
No, because you asked to repeat. That's why I do it again.
Oh, I thought you want to fight with me, Lavia. Okay. One word only. What if
Process.
Who?
Process. Susan and
Yes.
Susan.
Good, Susan. Process. You must put in your mind the process. Okay? So, if you talk in terms of the process, what should we have first? Before the answers are there, but not that not in accordance with the flow that we are supposed to put. So when we talk about the process, so what should you explain? We start with definition just now. definition of bidding finance, definition of end finance, and then what are we supposed to come up with?
Application process.
Yes, the process. So in the process, what are we supposed to talk? Briefly, Vidat, can you say again? What are we supposed to talk in the application process?
How they approve the loan, what the requirement that need.
Not how do they approve the loan. That one, the next stage. So the requirement. Okay, we start with the requirement. What did you start this with your answer? You started straight away with the 5 C's, right? So you jump, you want to go to upstairs, you do not take the staircase, from step 1 to step 2, 3, 4. From step 1, you just jump to step 5 straight away and go to upstairs. So the requirements of the loan application. So basically, what are we supposed to consider here? Can someone help?
The documents.
What are what the main document that we need here?
Financial statement, feasibility studies, market studies, and then
Development proposal.
Latest
development
audited
proposal.
account.
Yes, good. And then the next step is, so after we have submitted all the document you have mentioned just now, so what's the next step?
The bank should review the proposal.
Yes, reviewing process. And the reviewing process, then we start to talk about 5 C's. So under the reviewing process, how do the bank do the review before they go to before we talk about 5 C's? Can the class help?
Based on the documents submitted just now.
Based on the documents submitted just now,
Rating.
and then the banks.
Rating agency increase details of the business.
That's the purpose of establishing what?
Credibility of the business. The trustworthiness.
The what?
Credibility and trustworthiness of the borrower.
Credibility.
Yeah.
Maybe they review on the quality of their product. Or
The brand, the goodwill.
The brand. If we talk in terms of the in terms of real estate development, do we have to come up with any brand?
Not brand, the goodwill of the company.
Good name of the companies. That means we need to review the management and the reputation of the firm as well as its strengths. Okay. So that's one factor. And then what another things that the banks normally review?
their source of repayment, if it's
Yes. The source of
from
repayment.
good cash flow or not.
Yes. So the source of repayment, so that's why our DCF, discounted cash flow, is very important in this case, and come up with the net present value to show that how good the market will be and what is our expectation in terms of selling. So basically, we can identify the source of repayment. Or if the developers have a different project that already have sources of income, so basically it's a lot easier for the developers to get the loan, the bridging loan that they are applying for. So because the question asks you two things, you can actually explain about the two loans together, because in terms of the process, it will be the same either for bridging finance or end finance. Although the purpose of having both loan and both loans actually differs, because one is for the construction or for the development, and the other one is for buying the units. But in terms of the process, it will be the same. So that's why you can combine together. Except on certain things that may be applicable to bridging finance only, but not applicable to end finance. But basically, the end finance, without the bridging finance, you cannot establish the end finance. So just now we have review. We have reviewed the management of the firm and the strengths of the firm, the history of the firm, etc. And then number two, we come up with the sources of repayments. And then what is number three?
I assume it's their asset, their non-current asset, especially properties, to act as collateral.
So we put under collateral, okay? As the main title. Number one, the strengths of the firm. Number two, the source of payment. Number three, collateral. So collaterals can actually be used as security for loans. So who answered just now? MK, is it? Who answered just now?
Yeah, it's me.
Can you discuss further and have the class comment?
Okay, for me, if I'm the mortgage manager now, I will be review on their, especially non-current asset, which is properties. I will more focusing on the investment properties they are having on, which is no more loan on it. They already finished the installment or they direct buy it with cash. Because there is no debt on it, then I can simply put it as collateral when I give out my agreement as one of the terms and conditions to give out my bridging finance agreement. Yeah.
What do you think, Clark? Is the agreement correct? We put under collateral?
I think for collateral will be the development side. Will be act as the collateral.
So where do you want to put MK's argument just now?
Source. Source of
Capital.
repayment.
Under source?
Yeah, the source.
Source of repayment? No. Also no good. So where do you want to put the correct one? Because source of repayment, you know that from the sales, you know, marketing strategies is good, then the sales, you get income from the sales. That's the source of repayment actually.
Is it under the capital the borrower have?
So which one do you want to put under the three topics we have discussed just now? Number one, the strengths of the firm. Number two, the source of repayment. Number three, collateral. So you want to create another one? Now, what?
I think it's under the capital, because capital is talking about the total. Is talking about the the asset itself, whether it's non-current or current asset, because it's like showing the financial background of the borrower, something like that.
So we put another one under financial strength. Will it be okay?
Okay.
So number 4 is financial strength. So you prefer to put that one under financial strength. Yeah? Would you like to put under financial strength that one?
I think so. Yes, I think so.
I also agree with you.
Huh?
So now we have 4 things. So let me ask you again, what are you supposed to discuss about collateral? I think Nino has answered just now. Can you explain a bit about the collateral? MK, you keep quiet, okay? You gave me wrong answer. No, your answer is correct, but you discuss on the different. No, you are supposed to take a train, but now you take a lorry instead. But you still read the information.
Okay, my answer will be the collateral will be the proposed site for the development. Since that when they submit for a loan approval, they also will submit a valuation report of the development site, which using residual method to calculate the potential value of the site. In this case, then the bank need to take into consideration of the potential value of the site, and then if they are happy with that, and then the project develop, they can approve loan with the condition that the site will be act as a collateral for the bridging finance. Yeah.
Yes. Any argument?
No.
No. Okay. So I think we have covered the process, but when I look at again reviewing process repayment, collateral, financial, there is one more missing. What is that?
Condition of the market.
That one you want to put under what? Okay, condition is correct, but you want to put under what heading?
What heading? Economic outlook.
Also correct. What do you want to put under what heading? Give me one heading.
One wording, sir.
Heading.
Heading.
Title.
Economic outlook, salah. Economic outlook.
That one under the explanation of that particular heading.
Market research.
Also wrong under, not wrong, but that one can be discussed under that particular heading.
The viability of the project.
Sorry, say again?
The viability of the project.
The one want to put under what? What heading? Also correct.
Economy environment.
Under what heading? Also correct. Okay. What heading?
Feasibility study.
Under what heading?
Assessment.
You say that?
Shira.
Mira. Okay, that's correct. And the project assessment. Okay? Use the word assessment. Project assessment, then you can discuss all those things. The one that you tried to include just now. Okay, any additional thing that you want to include under the reviewing process? Anything else?
No, I guess.
I think you covered everything. So now, so when we do the review, so basically once everything is okay, that then we need to consider the 5 C's. So what are the purpose of having the 5 C's here? Can someone start to answer and then we discuss? I want someone on Sokling. Sokling, is there?
Oh, yes, doctor.
Okay, can you start with the 5C? What are you supposed to talk?
Based on the requirement of loan application.
Uh-huh.
From the requirement of the loan application, we can know that which factor will affect, like for example, the character. For example, the character, like different people with the requirement is different. Okay lah.
So what's the purpose actually of having 5C?
Because we need to make the decision.
Yes. So the purpose is what?
We use the factor to make our decision which bridging or the end financing is suitable.
I think the factor should the 5 C's of credit act as a guideline.
As a guideline for what?
For assessing the credibility of the firm.
No, we use the word used by Sok-Ling just now. Decision, okay? We use that word. That word is correct, but I just want to establish how do you want to come up before, the purpose of having the 5 C's or something like that. You can start with, in order, let's say, assuming that all the above criteria, all the above process have been established, have been accepted, then, because you need to explain how do you want to advise, not to plug in all the things, without the flow. This is not direct question. This is advising. So having identified all the above process, then the 5C's assessment has to be done before the mortgage officer come out with his or her final decision. Something like that. That's the way how do you want to advise. If you cut and paste, and then I also paste your marks later on. Paste somewhere else. I cut.
So to summarize, just now Dr. Puya's statement, that is the as a guideline for the mortgage manager to come to a decision of approving the bridging finance or not.
No, your statement is overall statement. You should start from the beginning. Okay, now we are talking about the 5 C's.
Okay.
So your statement is for the whole thing, which you should put at the beginning.
Oh.
Is it the mortgage officer need to assess the 5C in order to analyze the credit risk of the company, in order to help them to approve whether to approve the loan or not in the end, to make the loan approval decision?
Correct. So I already mentioned just now, having identified the above process, because you have identified all the process before, right? Having identified the above process, then the mortgage officer has to come out with the 5C's analysis before he or she come out with his final decision. So the word decision is there. You don't need to come up with another thing. I'm just, well, not exactly like what I said. You can say whatever you want to say, but something like that. the decision, before making the decision, then we after after all the process has been fulfilled, then we want to make the final decision. That's the main thing. Okay, Susan.
Alright, Doctor.
Okay, so now you go to the 5 C's. I think I want to hear. I want to hear from Wahida. Can you talk about the 5 C's, Wahida? If you want to talk all the 5 C's, talk at least 1 C. Wahida?
Wait, Doctor, wait.
Sleeping or having a bus?
No, Doctor.
Ah.
Hello? Do you
Hello,
hear
yeah.
me?
Yes,
Hello,
yes, I can
Doctor.
hear you.
Okay.
Hello. I can hear you.
One of the 5C, okay, Doctor?
If you can explain all, then go ahead. If you cannot, then just discuss one only.
First about character. The character of the borrower indicates two things, which is the ability to pay versus the willingness to pay. And the ability to pay refers to borrower's financial credibility to pay. And a good character is one that has the ability to pay and a willingness to pay. The lender should check on the borrower's character.
Are you answering the question? Answering the
think
question?
no.
Out of 10 marks, for this character, I'll give you only 2 marks. 2 above or 2 over 10. Are you happy with it?
No.
You want to correct it or you want to ask someone else to help you?
To ask someone else.
Who you want to ask? Quickly. Who's that?
Shira?
Shira. Shira, where are you?
Hello. Ya, ada ni.
What do you want to answer this?
Wahida said character just now, so my explanation almost the same as Wahida, because a good character is the one who are willing to pay and have the ability to pay. That was
That's
my
good.
answer.
Good. Your answer as good as my lecture notes, which is very good. Cut and paste.
No.
It doesn't mean that you get 10 over 10 if you cut and paste like that. So how do you want to do that? You like to call someone else? Or you want to do you try again? It's up to you. Yeah.
I would like to call someone else.
Then call quickly.
Alright. Let me see who's in the class. Pak Iqmal.
Pak Iqmal. Ni mesti tidur lagi ni. Pak Iqmal. Saya tak nampak pun nama dia. Ada. Pak
Ada
Iqmal.
tu. Nampak je. Pak Iqmal.
Ada je. Namanya ada, orangnya entah. Dah berselimut.
Alah.
Nanti saya tanya dia. Dia kata hujan.
Ikuan ada
Apa lah cepat. Jangan buang masa.
Ikuan.
Mana ikut apa saya tak nampak?
Ya, saya di sini.
Ada GB2. Assessor Ikuan.
Mana? Ditukar nama ni. Siapa yang lupa?
GB2 Assessor Ikuan.
Tak nampak pun.
Hello,
Suara
dengar.
dengar. Baru nampak. Tukar nama, patutlah cari tak jumpa. Okey, tolong jawab.
Okay. For the character, right? So, how would I instruct the mortgage officer to conduct the task in helping the final decision? So, first of all, we need to check the character of the borrowers, which is the capability of the borrowers to pay and the source of the payment, the willingness to pay too. And if the borrower has a good character for the credit, that means we can consider lah untuk to give the loans to the borrower, because the good character has the ability to pay and willing to pay.
Doctor, can I say a good character is the one who are willing to make the payment on time?
Whenever you assess people, the same like when I'm assessing you,
Yeah.
whenever I ask you, can you do it? You say yes. Correct or not?
Yes.
Correct.
Then we
If
have
you say
to
no, that means
justify our yes lah.
yes. So how
Our
to
yes
do
is
you,
the yes.
not how yes is the yes.
Doctor, assess to their past, like their history, credit history, how they used to repay previous loans.
How do you want to do that?
I must get like a credit history
From where?
from them, or if they've borrowed before, then from the bank.
Do you think the bank will give you?
I'm not very sure about that.
So where do you want to get all those things from?
From Bank Negara or the
Do you think
secrets?
the Negara will give you? So where do you want to get all those things? All those information?
Secrets.
Yes. Where do you want to get it from? From where?
I think it's Bank Negara lah, secret sitos.
Control under Bank Negara, but where do you want to get all those info? For CTES and
Rating agency.
that is rating agency. Where do you want to get the data from? From their website. You have to buy a report.
Ya, betul.
Itu saja. Nasib baik you jauh tau. Kalau dekat sudah kena tiaw betul-betul dengan ni. Okay. So that's for character. So now it's 10 past 3 already. I think we have more than almost 1 hour on this subject. So basically, you use character as the way that you answer just now, as the way that how to answer the question like this. And then you apply to capacity, capital, condition, collateral, the other 4 C's. But the way you answer must be the same, more or less the same like the character just now. Do you understand?
Boleh understand.
Because I don't want to discuss more, because everything in the notes. But if you cut and paste like I said just now, I give you only 2 out of 10. But if you explain a bit, I'll give you maybe 8, 9, or maybe 10 over 10. Depends on how do you want to argue. Because some answer, even essay, for my question, it is not possible. It is not possible to get 10 over 10. provided you using the correct way how to answer. Many of your seniors got full marks for answering my, my question, qualitative question. Although you do not come up with the exact answer like the one I submitted to because I also have frameworks, or we call it answer scheme. So I submitted to So even you do not come up with the exact answer, but as long as you know how to answer correctly, then there is a possibility that you will get 10 over 10. So normally 50 over 50. So you get 50 over 50 for essay question. So you may think that you can get full mark for calculation, but not necessarily the case. Calculation, the same thing. If you come up with the answer, the concept is behind it, is correct, then usually I also give you full mark. But if you cut and paste, that's the thing that I always, I hate to see that kind of question, that kind of answer. To be honest with you, do not cut and paste. I don't like to see that. Even if you want to come up with the diagram, try to redraw the diagram, because it will tell me whether you actually understand with what you are talking or not. Because from the diagram you draw, from your point of view, might be exactly the same diagram like my lecture notes, but I know what's wrong with it. I can detect. The same thing when you do calculation like last week, I know already whether your answer is correct or not in terms of the flow of the figures you have given me. So the same thing when you redraw the diagram. So if you cut and paste, definitely you get the correct answer, the diagram. But I don't like it. You try to answer something that, does not come up from your own understanding. So better rewrite in your own way in order to suit the question, unless if the question asks you straightforward question. If the question say that list 5 main factors influencing the final decision of loan application, that one is straightforward. Just answer. But normally my question is not straightforward. Maybe straightforward, but not that straightforward. You have to think. Okay, so we have discussed that. All the 5 C's, you come up with your own interpretation. That's why I asked you to prepare first. So based on the character that we have discussed just now, it is applicable to the other 5 C's. And then we go to what is the next stage of your answer just now? Wida? What after 5 C's, go down. Go down after 5 C's. Look, you stop like this, condition, and then stop. So where is your advice? Incomplete.
Okay, I think we need to come up with the final decision on how we evaluate all those things. For example, like condition, what is the guideline for us to make it to make it pass for the credit score?
So the conclusion, you must have that. If you make like this, the same thing like what you normally use when you do SWOT analysis. I hate your SWOT analysis. Even I did not teach you. Most of a student, your senior, your junior, they do SWOT analysis. But all tergantung like this. Do not finish. I don't know your group because I did not involve in your presentation. But the rest of the group, I really hate. I don't know who teach you SWOT analysis. You just list down everything and then that's it. What sort of analysis is that? Must have come up with something because that is analysis. Even it is qualitative, no figures. Even you write a love letter, you know, sorry, darling, I really frustrated with our last night part 2 because your face looked very, very, very what? Whatever you want to write, and then towards the end, you come to the conclusion, no matter what happened, I still love you. Correct or not? That's your conclusion. You give all the facts about last night, you want to apologize, even not from your heart, but maybe from your hand only. Your heart is different, your hand is writing something different, but it's okay. But towards the end, you come out, to be honest with you, darling, I still love you. No matter what happened, I don't want to find someone else. That's the conclusion. Did you like that when you write a love letter? MK, you have a girlfriend or not?
I have a girlfriend, but I'm the one who received love letter.
Can you give a girlfriend letter? Got conclusion or not?
Lupa already.
Oh, only one letter so far. That's why you look.
Lupa already.
So something like that.
Okay.
That's why I refer to your SWOT analysis. I'm sure you did the same thing. Correct or not? I was not involved at all with your presentation, but I'm sure you did that way. Do you agree with me?
Okay, agree.
Because when you look at your senior report, you tend to follow your senior report blindly, without thinking of the effect. So the same thing. For this answer, must come up with conclusion, otherwise you lose about 20%. So out of 10, that means you lose two marks. 2 marks for the conclusion. So now your marks only 8 left. And then depend on the rest of your argument, etc., based on the 8. Okay, that's the answer for this kind of question. So now we go to the next question. Lecture, I think lecture, which lecture?
Lecture 12.
Lecture 12. Yeah. So I want someone else to answer. Let me pick up the name. Joanne?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, can you answer this tutorial?
Can wait, yeah. Can you see my answer?
Yes. Okay. So how do you want to come up with the answer? Tell us the. Just discuss the.
My framework is first I discuss about the definition of source of finance, then I discuss about the types of finance. For my answer, because the question is asking offer to the firms, then I only include the external source.
Only external source?
Yeah, based on my understanding.
Yes, correct. That's why I want you to understand the question. Okay, and then?
Yeah, so I start with the definition that the source of finance refers to the source or places a business get money from to fund their business activities. And it's also referring to different ways of business to obtain their fund. And then is arisen from outside because for this question is referring to external source. The finance is offered to in order to meet the business requirement, such as to launch their business, finance expansions, and enter new markets, and also to support the business operations. Yeah, this is my definition.
Okay, I was losing connection just now, so I did not hear properly. But I think it's okay. I think you are giving definition of external source, right? Just now.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I can see here. Okay, and then the next one is
type of external sources can be classified into short term and also long term. And under short term, I explained about three types of short term external finance. And also long term, I also explained about three types.
okay. So do you want to discount by one?
Can for the definition for short-term external finance is referred to it's also named as working capital financing. It means the financing for a period of less than 1 year, and the need of short-term finance arises to finance the current asset of a business, like an inventory of raw materials and finished goods, debtors, minimum cash and bank balance, and etc. This is because the cash flow from operations may not be sufficient to keep up the growth-related financing goods. And then firms prefer to short-term financing instead of long-term due to easy availability and lower cost to borrow. And the first one is trade credit.
Your battery is running low now, right?
Yeah.
So, you got a charger?
Yeah. I charged already.
You want to borrow from me? I can give you.
I charged already.
Okay, go ahead.
The first one is trade credit. Trade credit is a loan extended by one trader to another when the goods and services are brought on credit, and it facilitates the purchaser of supplier without immediate payment. And then it's commonly used by business organizations as a sources of short-term financing, and it grants to those customers who have a reasonable amount of financial standing and goodwill. The date of repayment is between 28 to 90 days. And the corporation of business will make efficient use of capital to accomplish various business objectives.
Okay. So do you think that you have answered the question up to this stage? What do you think?
I'm not sure. Maybe yes.
Maybe yes. Anyone agree with Joanne's view? Or who disagree?
Maybe you need to
Come on, the class.
compare with others. Because the question is discuss, right? So discuss, we need to like compare and determine which is the best. I don't know.
How do you want to compare?
Like ceritakan other types of sources and to
Why you don't have energy today, Iwan?
huh?
Is it because of the flood in Terengganu, Banjir?
Cuaca agak buruk.
Bila cuaca buruk apa jadi?
Apa jadi?
Sejuk.
Dekat rumah saya tak banjir lah tapi hujan.
So kenapa macam orang baru lepas harungi banjir aja hari ini? Dah makan belum? Dah makan belum? Tengah makan? Patutlah. Okay. Any other comment? Part of Ikhwan comment just now is valid, but I still cannot see what he's trying to establish because he's also not sure what he's talking about. But it is there. I can see one of the words that he mentioned. So any other comment from the floor, from the class?
I think the answer seems okay to me.
The answer seems okay, but do you think that the answer need to be restructured in order to fulfill what the question asks, or just like that, cut and paste?
Maybe need to explain a bit more on how trade credit can meet the business requirement.
That's what I want to hear. How do you want to re-justify the answer? Joanne, I don't say your answer is wrong, okay? All the points you are given here is correct. But the way or the style you are answering this question is not up to what I expect. You understand or not?
Is it like I'm only describing and not apply in the question?
You go to the question again just now. Go to the question again. So Ikhwan already mentioned just now. What is the word that you are supposed to consider?
Discuss.
Ikhwan already mentioned what? Discuss. Correct. So under discussion, Ikhwan do not have energy to answer more just now. So can you come up with your energy to explain what does it mean by discuss? We already covered so many questions. We discuss. So what are you supposed to have?
Advantage and disadvantage.
Yes, correct. Do you have that here?
I think no.
Yes. That means you did not answer the question.
Okay.
You are not arguing either positive or negative, but you are taking all the point from the lecture note and plug in there, and you consider that as answer. That is a textbook answer. Not answering the question, just like the question we have discussed just now. Do you have a question just now? Who's making noise? Okay, so you did not answer the question. You cannot get full marks. If you want to improve it,
the advantage of trade credit is like enable the how to say okay, in the case of manufacturing, so the trade credit enable the manufacturer to spare some time to pay back their money at instance, which means they can use the money temporarily to buy more goods in bulks to get higher profit margin, as bulk purchase has lower cost. Like this, giving example.
that's the advantages. The advantage.
Yes, one of the advantage in describing the manufacturing aspect.
And one of the disadvantages?
If too much trade credit, it might causing problem when the firms has liquidity issue. They may unable to repay the trade credit.
Yes, mismatch will occur between liabilities and the debt later on. So something like that. You explain, you discuss, give advantages and disadvantages. It's up to you how many, but not too many. You give too many also, you'll be wasting your time. But at least when you do something like this, you do the framework, you know which one you want to split the answer in terms of the marks. Out of the 50 marks, maybe you give 30 marks. 30 marks for this section only. Not for trade credit only, for all the things that you're supposed to discuss in the short-term finance and long-term finance. So you give 50 marks. And then out of 50 marks, you get 30 marks. Out of 30, maybe you split 15 for the short term, 15 for the long term. And the balance of 20%, so you put 10 at the beginning and 10 for the conclusion.
Okay. Understand.
Okay, everyone, the rest of the class.
Okay.
I want to check whether Afiq is back or not. Afiq, are you here?
Yes, doctor, I'm here.
Pak Iqbal, are you here?
Baru pergi toilet tadi.
Lah. Siapa pergi toilet tadi?
Afiq.
Afiq, kau buat apa kat toilet?
Buang air.
Buang air, okey. So, itu pun mau tanya. So, Afiq, so just now, we talk about trade credit. So what is the other one you want to talk about?
The next one is factoring.
Okay, I want Afiq to answer, okay?
Okay, then I stop share screen.
No, leave your screen there.
Okay.
Because we already come up with the framework. I don't want to see other answer. We just want to discuss. Otherwise, if you see other framework, so we'll get different answer.
Okay.
So let's share your screen until finish. The way that you discuss definitely have to be improved, like we have discussed for the trade credit just now. Now we are going to talk about other things. So Afiq, which one do you want to talk?
Yes, doctor. Deferred.
Which one?
Deferred payment.
Deferred payment.
This one for short term, right?
Follow the discussion just now. Go to where's the deferred payment? You hang on. We go to the point of deferred payment here. Where is it, Joanne?
I didn't include this point.
You did not include this point. Why?
I just picked 3.
Okay. Okay, Afiq, you can discuss the trade credit. Do you mention trade credit?
Sorry to interrupt. I have one question, doctor. Because the question is stated offered to the firms, right?
Yes.
So does this mean that only the external source should be discussed because it is offered to the firm?
That's what we have clarified just now before we start to answer. You asked Joanne. We have clarified just now. What's our decision, Joanne?
Yeah, but doctor, sorry for interrupt. Sorry for interrupt, but doctor.
Joanne?
Yes.
What's your answer?
My answer is only referring to external sources.
Yes. We agree with that one, right? So Suzanne, that's the answer we already discussed.
All right, because Afiq just now mentioned deferred payment, I thought we are going to discuss on that, so I confirm again.
That's what I want to see. I want, because Afiq said deferred payment, so I just want to see how far you can go with the deferred payment, whether it's correct or not. I want to ask the class. Okay, Suzanne?
Okay, doctor.
And then you stop arguing. Let him answer first, and then you can argue.
Okay, next time I know already.
Now it's wrong already. Oh, Afiq, you don't have to answer. Find something else. External source. Afiq.
Yes.
You cannot run away. Give
External
another
source,
answer.
credit facilities boleh tak? Betul? Credit facilities.
Joanne, you got credit facilities or not?
I didn't include it.
Also, you did not include.
Yeah, I just randomly picked 3.
Okay, Afiq, do you want to answer credit facilities? I want to see how do you answer the question? Not cut and paste.
In my answer, I didn't explain. I just list down the external sources.
Then you get 1 out of 10 marks. Okay? Just give the title. 1 mark out of 10.
I don't know how to explain.
You don't know how to explain. So no, what we call it, initiative to try. Be honest. You did not try at all, or you really don't know?
I really don't know. I did try.
Even 2 or 3 words you don't know from the notes.
No, I just list down the external sources. That's all for my answer for the short-term finance.
I cannot accept this kind of answer. You tell us how serious you are in doing your work. That's why I have to double check. Pak Iqmal dah lari. Dia tipu diri dia sendiri. I told you, you are cheating your own self. When you come here, you register, and then you run away. I'm also having a seminar right now. But because of my commitment to help you, then I don't want to cancel. All of us, and not all of us, a few of us, myself, Dr. Wan, Dr. Zai, Dr. Yasmin, Dr. Anwar, Dr. Zaz, Dr. Aino. 8 of us are in the seminar right now. But I sacrifice the seminar because I'm having commitment with you. I don't want to spoil our class. But when I come and ask you the answer, which I already told you last week to prepare, then you come up with something like this. I'm trying to help you, but you don't want to help yourself. So what can I do? Towards the end, you blame me. But you don't want to try yourself, but you are blaming me to spoon feed you. How to spoon feed you if you don't want to try? I already mentioned to you, no right or wrong. The wrong answer also I can accept. Then we start to correct it. Brian.
Yes, doctor.
Can you answer one more point?
Maybe I continue the joint one, the factoring.
Okay, can go ahead. Join, show the screen, okay? So how do you want to answer this, the factoring?
So this factoring is actually the financial transaction that sells the account receivable or such as the invoice to a third party at a discount. And then the advantage of the factoring, the prices are usually competitive. How to say? Wait.
Allow the fund to be obtained more quickly rather than waiting until in the future to collect the payment. This is the benefit.
Yeah, it assists a smoother cash flow. And then some customer might will pay more quickly.
And the advantage?
The disadvantage.
Yeah, disadvantage.
Something like the cost will mean a reduction in our profit margin. And then maybe reduce the scope for other borrowing.
Okay, can you repeat again? Under this session, under factoring, what you are supposed to answer? Which is the point that you have explained just now?
Okay, I repeat the factoring. So factoring is actually a financial transaction in which a business sells its account receivable, such as an invoice, to a third party at a discount. And then the advantage includes the...
What do you mean? What do you mean? I want to see your understanding on this point. Can you explain in whatever way you want to explain in order to show that you understand what you have given the point just now? Receivable accounts and the third party and then the discount. So what do you mean? You can give an example if you want to.
Like the vendor want to sell the product to the buyer first, and then Doctor, can I call someone to help me?
I do not ask you to call someone yet. I want to see, because you make a statement just now. I want to see how far do you understand this your own statement.
Oh, okay. Like the vendor want to sell the product or service to the buyer, and then the discounted payment will made within 3 days from the approved invoice, and then finally the full payment will be made from the buyer.
Are you sure?
Doctor, can I help you?
Hang on. Who want to help just now?
Okay lah, me, MK.
Wait.
Okay.
Who is 180032? Who is 180032? Anyone knows? BIE 180032, I can check later. But I want, because you are here, so I want you to introduce yourself, because you know, you don't put your name here. I can trace later on. If I trace now, I will be wasting my time. That's why I'm asking now. Who is 180032?
Doctor, me,
Who?
Shirley.
Who? Shirley?
Ah,
Because you do not use your name. Can you help Brian? Shirley? Why are you crying? Do not cry.
I
It sounds like you are regretting, you know. What's wrong with you, Shirley? Anything wrong? And then?
also don't know how to answer.
Don't know how to answer. Even the wrong answer also you cannot give.
Yes.
Very bad. I prefer someone to give me a wrong answer and then I will correct it, rather than to say, I don't know, I know nothing at all. You want to give me a wrong answer? Okay, go back to MK. MK, you can answer now.
Okay. So, like, I follow on Kayu's punya statement just now lah. So, for example, now there's a firm, okay, it sells computer to his customer, which is 100k, the worth of 100k, right? So, this customer use the credit lah, so which will be paid maybe in 90 days, like just now trade credit. So, but now this firm, it needs cash for rolling, for the liquidity lah. So it will approaching the factoring agency to get the money at a discount rate. So it sell this invoice of 100k to that third party agency, the factoring agency lah, which maybe agree at 90k or 80k. Okay, let's say 80k now. So it will be a loss of 20k for him. So this indicate the advantage and disadvantage at same time lah, which is the advantage is facilitate the cash flow, provide liquidity to the company, and the disadvantage is giving the loss law, which the company want to sell it at 80k, so it lost 20k lah, which is disadvantage in this case.
Wow, I'm falling in love with you now, MK.
Of course lah, everyone falling in love with me.
Is it?
Yeah.
Big one, you fall in love with him as well? Big one?
Yes, he loved me so much.
You did not answer. You answer for him.
He asking you, Likon.
Okay, that's the answer. I can see that MK can understand. Brian. Brian, are you falling in love with me? Are you falling in love with me or not, Brian? Why are you laughing? No, yes or no? No, say no.
Maybe yes.
That's the way. What I want to see the answer. I know that you didn't understand. That's why I asked you to re-explain. You know, just to double check whether you can follow or not. Because if you talk something that come out from the lecture note, or you make a statement that come out from the lecture note without understanding, I can see the way that you explain. Because your purpose is to answer the question, not to read the lecture note. I'm not asking you to read the lecture note, or I'm not asking you to rewrite the lecture notes. I don't want to. So the question said discuss, then you have to discuss. If the question lists down, the question said that lists down the short-term finance that are available in the market, then you just list down. You can follow the lecture note. But I want you to think. That's what it means by critical thinking. The thing become worse if you give me an answer like Afiq gives just now. Factoring. But I don't know the factoring. That's my answer. I just list down. You'll get 0. Even to get the wrong answer, you also don't know. Huh, Shelley? I asked you to give me the wrong answer, also you don't know. Okay, so you can identify, because all in the lecture notes, factoring, overdraft, and then there are so many things if you see the diagram. So you identify which one is correct, and then the way that I expect you to answer for this kind of question is like the one that we have discussed. Okay, everyone? Okay. So next week we'll have another 2 tutorial. We have a lecture on Tuesday, and then we'll have tutorial on Wednesday, the last 2 tutorial. Please prepare. If you don't want to prepare, do not come to the class. Do not come to the tutorial. You can come to the class, because the class you are supposed to listen only. Unless if you don't understand, you can stop me. But during tutorial, I want you to take over the class as a lecturer, not me. I will become a student. I will learn from you. But if you are wrong, then I'll use my veto to be a lecturer again. If you are right, then I just keep quiet, and then I'll fall in love with who answered the correct one. So today I'm falling in love with MK, although he doesn't love me, but I'm falling in love with him. As well as with Brian just now, because Brian said he loved me too. So we are okay. Never mind, just a joke, okay? Hey, Minkai.
Okay, no worry.
MK, can you give me MK? Can you give me a flying kiss or not now?
No, my girlfriend is at beside of me. This is prohibited.
Okay, never mind.
Okay.
So that's the answer. Next time,
Next time, when we got Jodo to meet at faculty.
I keep your promise, you know. You have to keep your promise, you know. I'm a person who always remember one.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, so next week, we have a test, okay? On Friday, I'll give you a question from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. So I don't want to hear anything that you say you cannot submit when come to 12 o'clock. Because the question, I haven't got the question yet, but I will design the question which the expectation to answer within the maximum of 1.5 hours only. If you use more than 1.5 hours and then you say that you cannot submit, that's your problem. I want to train you before the final exam. Last time I accepted a few of you submitted not on Spectrum, submitted through email and then WhatsApp me. So I still accepted, but this time I will not accept. Do not blame me later on, because I want to train you for the final exam. If you answer more than 1.5 hours, that's your problem, not the do not say that the time given is not enough, because the design of my question will be I expect the most is 1 hour, but I'm giving you another 30 minutes just in case because online is a bit different. You want to copy from somewhere, nobody see you copy. So in the exam hall, so you cannot copy. So that's why I said I don't want to see cut and paste, because I can see from the way that you draw the diagram whether you understand or not. So I want to see that, and then another 30 minutes is just to cover the kind of thing. The answer is basically about 1 hour only. So 1 hour 30 minutes, you have another 30 minutes to prepare. So if you still focusing to answer up to almost 2 hours, that's and then after that something is wrong with your internet, or something wrong with whatever problem. So you cannot blame me. I don't want to accept anymore, unless if you come and see me personally. I'm sorry, I'm crying. Now PKP you cannot come, up to up to March